So whether it's YouTube videos, Instagram Reels, skits for Twitter, or live streams, one of the most common questions I get is, what camera do you use? I don't know why it took me so long to make this video, but here it is. Here's the 3 cameras that I use for all of my content in 2024. Now, take in mind, you didn't mishear me. I said 3 cameras because I have 3 cameras that I use for stuff. I feel like it's a number that a lot of people wouldn't expect, because with what I do, you can get away with 1. But a little bit of a backstory: before I even really full sent into content creation, I was working for other companies and doing side wedding videography gigs to need and rely on a handful of cameras. So throughout the last 5 years, I've invested a lot of money back into the tech, especially lenses, which, let me know if you guys would want another video on all the lenses that I have as well. But for me, throughout the years, one of the best investments that I would like to make were cameras. So that way I could make better content, make better product videos for other people. And on top of it, like, I'm a hobbyist, so it's like a win-win-win all the way around. I guess I just wanted to point that out because I don't want people thinking that I just bought this shit to get to where I am right now as a creator. I didn't need half the gear that I have. I bought this because I was doing other projects, and I always thought to myself, well, if content creation doesn't work out in the long run, I can always go back to my freelance gig. I can always go back to picking up local work for businesses or weddings. So for me, it was worth investing. I wouldn't recommend anybody just wanting to do YouTube in 2024 to pick up everything that I have. It would be irrational to do so. Starting off, I figured we'd knock out the camera that I've already talked about recently, the best vlogging setup that I built for 2024. This is the Sony ZV-E1, essentially the A7S III and FX3 sensor in a small form body. Super light. I run all the settings on this at automatic, white balance, ISO. It's got a shutter priority. Everything else is just run and gun with it. I shoot S Cinetone on this. Again, I'm not trying to make this a challenging camera. I just like to utilize this for content that I need to make on the go, for vlogging, so that way I don't have an excuse not to get the shot. That's why I put the new Sony 16-35 f4 on it, not the f2.8, because this thing is just uber light. It's a digital zoom. This whole entire rig is just like the fast clutch shooter, get all the shit out of the way. On top of that, I have the new DJI wireless microphone as well. Got a Pro Mist filter on there as well. I love that like hazy look that you see in my videos. Such a slut for that cinematic vibe, I guess you'd say. But yeah, a lot of people were shocked to find out I run that thing in full auto. And this kind of goes back to a point that I say all the time, where as creatives, we really stress too fucking much about the shit. Like, we pick things apart. Like, if we're not recording things in S-Log3 and doing everything the hard way, we don't think it's like validated work. It couldn't be further from the truth. The viewer really genuinely doesn't give a flying fuck like we do. I mean, some of my most viral videos in the last year were shot on an iPhone. Put that into perspective. Okay, so let's go to the B shooter over here. This is the Sony A7 IV. I've had this for a few years now. This might be the next camera that I do upgrade in some way or get rid of. I might get an extra Sony FX3 body, maybe Sony A7S III. There's really no downside to this camera because it's great for both video and photo, but I bought it because at the time I did take a lot of product photography, but I don't do that as much anymore, so I really don't need that kind of sensor in a camera for photos. But on top of that, I have the Sony shotgun mic. I typically stack the Sony 35F 1.4 on there. Again, a Pro Mist on the front. And then I have this camera on this dope small rig mount where I can just turn the camera sideways for vertical content. Super fucking clutch. This is the camera that I typically use for my live streams, my vertical content, and my B shooter for making YouTube videos like this. And then we have the main setup over here, my Sony FX3 setup. So on the front of this, I have a Sony 24mm f1.4 with a Pro Mist. I love how wide yet tight this shot is here with the f1.4. Like, I feel like this lens allows me to capture the environment around me, putting you guys in my setting while also focusing on me outside of the background. Both the 24 and the 35 1.4 stacked with each other is just a beautiful combo. So I actually used the grip that came with the Sony FX3 with a couple extra attachments from SmallRig, so that way it gives me more room to mount my monitor on top, which I'm using an AnyCine 4K monitor for that. So for audio on this, I have an XLR cable coming out for the preamp. For this mic I found on Amazon for a couple $100. I can't recommend this thing enough. Link in the description of the video. Then on top of that, for run and gun audio, I use the Rode VideoMic Go, I believe it's called, as just a nice little shotgun mic to have on top in case I want to take this whole entire setup off the stand and bring it somewhere else. Speaking of stand, it is on a ProMaster 24p stand. I believe it's just some kind of cinema camera stand. I got it from my local camera shop. I basically wanted something heavy duty like this to where I can put the entire rig on here and move it around the house, so that way I have no excuse to record the content. All the mounts on it are from SmallRig, and then I have a Shinobi Adamus Ninja on the front as well to monitor myself. Truth be told, I got this monitor to actually go on top of the camera setup, but I didn't realize that it didn't come with an HDMI output as well. I should have fucking returned it, but I didn't, and so here we are. But yeah, like I mentioned, this whole entire setup, it's built around the idea of there's no fucking excuse. I don't have to set up all these stands. I don't have to do all this crazy shit. I just turn on a couple things, I sit down the camera, and I record. And it makes it so much easier for me to just get the damn job done. And that's all I want this year. Just no excuse to do what I do. And then the upside is, with everything mixed today, if something happens to me and my brand where like maybe I lose brand deals or I'm not monetizing myself enough, I use all this gear, I pick up some local work, and I get to fucking grinding the craft that I love anyways. And this is just the boomer in me. I just have to point this out. Not making this video today to sell you on this stuff. I just wanted to kind of bring you guys along the tour, be able to have a video to actually link to people that had the questions to what I use for this content. Don't watch this today and just think that, yeah, that's all I need to get to make things happen for me this year. I mean, at the end of the day, it's your own fucking money. You do what you want, but I'm not recommending that. This is just what I use for my situation. All right, that's all I got for you guys today. I'm out. Peace. Deuces.